Friends. Welcome to Find Your People, episode 11, the first one that is going to be timely put on all the platforms. JT Clements has now got us on all the things. Mandee, are you excited?
I'm so excited. So excited. It's going to be easier for people to listen.
Yes.
Very fun.
Yep.
Birch has already said, thank you. Now I don't have to pause it when I want to text you about something. I can just text you while I keep listening.
There we go. We are, I'm not exactly sure how the algorithms and all these places work, but if you get a moment, if you would do all the things like subscribe, share, whatever you do on there. I don't know. Follow. I think you follow on Apple Podcasts. And we'll see what happens.
I think that's our motto.
Yep. We'll just see. We're trying our best.
We'll just keep going and see what happens.
Well, it's been a crazy week for me. I have been very out of touch, so I cannot. This is all going to be new information for me from Mandee. So I can't wait to hear how your week has been, Mandee. So I know a little bit of what you want to talk about today, and we are all in a little bit of mourning this week. So talk to us and tell us how you're doing in your time of grief.
I mean, a week ago today, there was still hope.
There was,
but it's gone now. It's gone now. The hope is gone. My friend Kelce was listening to all the old podcasts over the weekend, and she texted. She said, "It's really sad to hear all that hope in your voice."
Amen, sister. Amen. We all
She's
feel
like, you full on predicted a Braves Dodgers NLCS.
That would have been great.
I mean, I didn't think it would happen 2 years in a row, but here we are.
Here we are.
2 years in a row. The Phillies just creamed us.
Yeah, they did.
And they are still in Fuego. They have played the first 2 games against the Diamondbacks. And they have creamed the Diamondbacks.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's Kelly and I were like, are we watching these games? So we turned on the first game. I said, I think I'll watch it. I'll try to watch it. And if they start winning, like really, like I may have to turn it off. My heart may not handle it. So we started watching, and Kyle Schwarber hit a home run, I think on the first pitch of the game.
Wow.
And then Bryce Harper hit a home run.
Oh, Bryce.
Like, all right, deuces, we're out.
Yep.
I didn't even turn it on last night.
Okay.
It's 110-0. Yeah.
That is painful.
And it's like last year when the Phillies beat us, it was kind of like, oh, well, isn't this fun? The Phillies have really stunk all season, and now they're hot and they're doing what we did last year. And so I followed them on Instagram, and I watched them and I rooted for them. Yeah, I don't feel that this year.
I know. So I, as y'all know, if you've listened to all the episodes, I love baseball, but the games were just too long. So I have recently come back around to MLB, and I already hate them. It didn't take long. I want them to win.
I mean, watching that I mean, kudos to their fans. And I heard somebody on a podcast talking about it. It's not just that it's sold out. Like lots of stadiums sell out.
Right.
Truist Park sells out. And it's not just that their fans get excited in big moments.
No.
It's that their fans stay at a minimum of a 9.
The whole time.
And most of the time they're at a 12.
Yeah.
Like it's just non-stop.
Yeah.
And we sat them down for a little bit last Wednesday night. Spencer Strider, as I predicted, came out shoving. And we did sit him down for a little bit, but I mean,
I blame the beard. He should have kept the mustache. He was doing great with the mustache, and then you want to get all fancy and grow out the beard. And I was like, Strider, that's not what we need, honey. We need the stash. We need that stash attitude.
It's funny. Probably my favorite Braves podcast is one that's called 755 is Real, which is a reference to Hank Aaron's
Yep.
755 home runs as
Yep.
opposed to Barry Bonds. And it's by the Braves athletic, for the
Okay.
beat writer for the athletic. His name is David O'Brien, and his co-host is Erica Flaherty, who's a former reliever for the Braves. And I thought their like wrap up was really interesting, talking about Strider's post game interview and
Yeah.
how Dave said he's like Strider's got it figured out. What makes the Braves so good through the regular season 162 is that they're just even keeled. And that's not going to make you good in the postseason. And so they've just got to figure out what to do. And, Snit came up under Bobby Cox, and Bobby Cox had a lot of the same issues in the 90s. They won, they would win the division every year, and then they only won one World Series. So, we'll see. It's in Alex Anthopoulos, I trust. And so if anybody can figure it out, it's AA. But in the meantime, go Rangers.
I mean, is that who we're pulling for?
That's who we're pulling for.
Okay.
They are
I'll do
playing.
what you tell me, because I'm still navigating being back in. So if you
Yeah.
tell me to pull for the Rangers, I'm not pulling for the Phillies. I know that.
Yeah. So the Phillies are playing the Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks are fine.
They're just never
too
gonna win.
young. They're
Yeah.
not going to be able to beat the Phillies. The Rangers are playing Houston. So of course, we want
Boo.
Houston to lose.
Yep.
The Rangers are coached by or managed by Bruce Bochy, who was the manager for San Francisco when they had their run of World
Okay.
Series back with Madison Baumgartner and that whole crew. So post Bonds, like, who's the kid from South Georgia that was their catcher, whose name just left me? Buster Posey.
Buster.
So
Yeah.
and Madison Baumgartner in that group. And he retired and he's come back. So he's like the old, grizzled coach. He kind of lets kids play.
Yeah.
And they have two pitchers in their minor league system, whose names you will remember. Jack Leiter. What are you eating? You do not need to be eating it, whatever it is, Jenny, not Katie.
I mean, I'm not eating yet, so I knew it wasn't me.
But Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker are both coming up through the Rangers.
Okay.
So hopefully they'll be. I think Jack made it to AAA this year, I think, and Kumar had to have Tommy John.
Oh.
So yeah. But anyway, so hopefully we'll be seeing both of them with the Rangers soon. Anyway, so we're
Rangers.
Greg Maddox's brother, Mike Maddox, is their pitching coach.
Stop it.
So listen,
I love that.
Plenty to root for the Rangers. Their big dog stud is Corey Seager.
Okay.
Who was with the Dodgers. He kicked our butts when he was with the Dodgers. So now he's with the Rangers, and which is good. We don't have to see him quite as often. But yeah, so go Rangers.
Go Rangers.
Yeah. But other than that, I had all at one point in time, I had like three different places I felt like I needed to be this weekend. And sort of all of that got canceled. And it was,
I love it.
It happened in a series such that I didn't have time to get a pet sitter. Dog has been asleep all day now. She's up and wandering around, just in case you're wondering.
Of course, she was waiting for me.
She heard your voice. She got curious. So anyway, so I was just here, but what a great time of year to be home. It's funny. I had a morning walking her early in the morning, and I thought this is when I fell in love with the beach, and it ended up that was the 10 or 11 year anniversary. I can't remember now. Of the day I actually moved in.
Yeah.
So, it's a great time to be down here. The weather's great. Fall break is over. Praise the baby Jesus. So it's good. Things are good. And it's just, it was one of the things I was possibly could have done was go to Moultrie for the reunion. My dad was the choir director
Right.
of Moultrie, the a cappella choir, and it was started 90 years ago. And they had a 90th birthday reunion, and nearly 300 people sang together
Yeah.
on that stage on Saturday night.
Wow.
Um, so, but it was, I heard from several old friends, and I have my group of girlfriends that I grew up with who,
Sure.
were my sisters. But these were more sort of like family friends. You throw
Yeah.
you throw a pebble in the water, and you have the concentric rings that
Yep.
come out. Sometimes those outer rings are like just as important, because
100%.
these folks have lived through every bit of my life with me.
Yep.
Like, literally were at the hospital when I was born,
Yep.
know everything that has happened. And when you have those kinds of friends and you don't have to explain your decision making and your reasoning, and they understand and they edify your decision,
Yes.
then listen, it's just
That
priceless.
sounds like a sermon starter to me. I'm stealing that.
So thank you, Leah. Thank you,
love that.
Leah, for being that person for me this weekend. It was greatly needed and appreciated. So tell
Love
us about you. You had
that.
exciting times. Somebody
Uh,
officiated her first wedding.
I'm exhausted. I don't know if you can tell.
You're allowed.
The
You're allowed.
bags under my eyes are large. So last week we talked about, I was away from him. I was writing and doing all the things for church. And then I came to Macon for the weekend because I did my first wedding. And it was great on many levels. And I got him married, which it was almost the least of the accomplishments. The groom, who is precious, has these 3 hilarious boys, and I think my greatest accomplishment this weekend was that none of them passed out or threw up during the ceremony. That was the biggest accomplishment.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I herded cats well enough. But their sister is I'd never met and is gorgeous and sweet and wonderful and has this cute little baby, and he had on one of the little bubbles with his name on it, and I just woo. And the bride's daughters, who I had not seen since they were, T90, are grown women with jobs now, and it was great to see them. And it was funny, a lot of people at the wedding I've known forever, like you said, one of those ripples. But they some of them didn't even know I was a preacher and had never heard me preach. And so
did you have like your robe?
I did.
Okay, because I was
And
gonna
I
say
walked out in my robe and they were like,
they probably would have thought you just got one of those internet search.
nope. And but it was very sometimes it's hard to preach in your hometown, as Jesus said, but everybody was so kind, and especially the women were very affirming and loved hearing a female voice.
Listen, you and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
My senior pastor is a woman.
Yep.
Our associate pastor was a woman until my dear friend Carla just moved away. Our music director was a woman until COVID. But so for many years now, the only voices I have had leading my church have been women. And it's weird now because since Carla left, our choir director is also our associate pastor. And he's a great man, and I like him a lot.
Sure.
It's just weird to hear a man up there.
Yeah. I grew up with female pastors, so it's not weird to me, but it's weird to so many people, and that's weird to me. And I talk about this if you want. I don't usually plug this here, but I have another podcast that I have whole episodes on women in ministry. And so if you're interested in that take on it, I say a lot about it over there, but it was just so nice to hear this weekend. Nobody was mean or hateful like some can be about it. But everybody was just supportive and loving, and it was just wonderful. Now, here's what I do have to do. And I don't know if I sent you this picture or not, but I am, some would say short, and the bride and the groom are not. And so you have to play Where's Waldo with Katie in the pictures when I'm doing the wedding because you can only see my eyeballs above their shoulders. So I really need a box, I think, to carry around in my trunk. So I'm gonna, yeah. So there's that.
That's funny. I've never thought about that.
Yep. So I'll put that picture online so you can just see my little eyeballs. They did like move to the side when I did the homily, so that was people could actually see me during that, but the rest of the time it was just this.
That's so funny.
I went to Creeders, which is my favorite place. I didn't get to spend very long there, but if you're in Macon, you already know about it. But if you visit Macon, you've got to go to Creeders. They're the nicest people. Go in there and tell them I sent you. It's Katie, and is the girl that always waits on me. And anyway, they're lovely. So I got some good stuff. I'm sure I will talk about some of it in a Find Your Food segment. And then I get this notification on my phone this week from Mandee challenging me. Here's my sports because I was in the wedding Saturday. So I didn't really watch many sports on Saturday. Auburn got a whooping. Hey, Jenny, from LSU, like a whooping from LSU. So I'm glad I didn't watch it. I was dancing on the dance floor at the wedding.
Good.
But I get this challenge, if you saw it on Insta, with our boy from Notre Dame, Mr. Sam Hartman, with this big old piece of wood in his hands. And
I saw the picture and I said, I don't know what this is about, but I sure hope Katie explains it to me.
And look, if nothing else, I consider myself an investigative journalist. And it took me forever to find it, but I know what it is.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear.
Yes.
All about his wood.
All about some wood that Sam Hartman was holding. So it is, a lot of games, a lot of old rivalries, especially have trophies of some sort. Some are really weird, some are just cups. This happens to be one of the really weird ones. This is a jeweled shillelagh.
As you do.
That is given to the winner of the USC Notre Dame game every year. And it is made of a blackthorn sapling from Ireland. And it has two kinds of yeah.
Does USC have Irish heritage?
I don't know, but it's a really old rivalry dating back to the 20s.
Okay.
It was original. So all the it has medallions on it for the winners. And in 1952, Howard Hughes sent his pilot and plane over to Ireland to get this piece of wood, a blackthorn sapling, because it's harder than an Irishman's head, and fly it back to LA to be used as this trophy for the USC Notre Dame game. So it's Howard Hughes, who we all know had, went round the bend.
Peed in a lot of bottles.
So
according to the Leo DiCaprio movie.
It's so weird because Howard Hughes started it.
Okay.
This thing was started in 52, but all the medallions on it date back to 26, which was the first game. And if USC wins, they put a gold Trojan head with a ruby eye on it with the score. And if Notre Dame wins, they put a gold shamrock with a emerald in it.
Emerald.
With the score on it. And if it's a tie, and there have been 5 ties.
Stop it.
We don't tie anymore, but back in the day, they put a joint medallion, and there are 5 of those on there with a ruby and a emerald. And so the original one was retired back in 89 and it's at Notre Dame in a glass case, I'm sure. And so they have a new one now that's kind of a replica and it's bigger because they were running out of room. So I don't know if that picture of Sam Hartman holding wood is the original or the new one. But that is the mystery of the picture.
Listen, thank you for your service.
Look, don't challenge me, ma'am.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And I think I'm guessing maybe Howard Hughes was a USC alum.
He was in LA, so yeah.
And that's why it was like the fact that it's from a sapling from Ireland, that was just him.
Yeah, that was just him being weird.
It wasn't that USC has any Irish heritage. That was
I found an article on the Trojan side of things, so on the USC site. So I can definitely link that up in the show notes if you care to learn more.
So I'm guessing that Notre Dame won, and that's why Sam Hartman was holding his wood.
I think that's from last year, because I don't think they've played yet, or maybe they did just play, and I don't know.
So they're just getting hyped up or something? Okay.
Yep. There are 48 Shamrocks and 36 Trojans and 5 combined. So Notre Dame is winning the series, is what that tells me.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
We broke the code.
I gotcha. You want to know something?
So I'm nothing if not an investigative journalist.
Preacher, forget it. Student, investigative journalist. I'm your girl.
Ding, ding, ding. Listen, we appreciate your service.
Hey, that's what
I will also do everybody the service of telling them to go check out little Sam Hartman if they have not.
Oh, honey.
My friend Kelly and I were talking about it, and she said, "Well, all I know about him is that," she said, "I just liked him because," she said, first of all, she sent me the picture, and she said, "He's giving me Dansby energy." And I was like, "Yeah, I can see that."
Yes, he's got the flowing locks.
Yeah.
And the beard.
Yeah.
He's real pretty.
Yeah. And I said, "Well, I actually just sent that picture to my friend Katie to tell me why he's holding that thing."
What is he holding, Mandee?
His wood. He's holding.
There we go.
We're explicit, y'all. I don't know if we
are. Might as well.
But she said, "Oh, well, I just liked him because I saw him being nice to that Duke quarterback when he got hurt."
Yes.
But I said, "Well, he also wears a tooth around his neck."
Does wear a tooth.
Like,
Sam is an onion with many layers.
He has concentric circles.
He does.
Is concentric the right word?
Yeah. I believe he's 45.
His beard would indicate so.
Yeah. He's one of those players that they use COVID as the excuse, but I believe he's been playing long enough to be 45. I think he's breaking some rules in there somewhere.
Listen, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So while I was on the coast doing my investigative journalist, I was actually down there meeting with a group of clergy women. We're forming a little support group, which I'm so excited about. They're lovely women. So we had our first group meeting together with a bunch of other groups from the same program. And it was so fun. We were on the marsh at a place called Wesley. Wesley Retreat, maybe. Anyway, I can link that site too. You can rent it. It's beautiful. The sunrises were beautiful. It was just lovely. They don't have Wi-Fi, so I was able to unplug and really just rest and Sabbath and enjoy some fun stuff. But it's really close to Savannah, which is one of my favorite towns. So last night we went in and we did an old house tour, which I had not toured the house that we did, the Owens house. We had the best little tour guide. She was so cute. And they did it in a very sensitive way. So we started back in the slave quarters and they really highlighted those people. There was a big wall of wooden planks and with the names of all of his slaves on it. and they have done a lot of investigating to put names to these people. And it was just lovely. And the house, was, ill-gotten gains and all kinds of fun stories, but they'd also done a really good job restoring it, which I love historic restoration. So it was fascinating to me. They had done color analysis of a lot of the rooms, and so they had gotten the original paint colors back. The dining room had something I'd never seen before. It was wrought iron, um, crown molding that looked like shells, wrought iron.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was beautiful. It was so
They look like shells. So like the design in the wrought
Yep,
iron
as a
shell.
shell. I thought it was like plaster is what it looks like because it's painted white, but it's wrought iron. And this guy was big into shipping, so he made like the second floor um had a split staircase to get up to it, and then once you were up there was a bowed wooden bridge back to the back half of the house. It was just the craziest thing. I loved it. So I was in heaven.
That's
um
fun.
it had this great portrait of this guy with his big bushy eyebrows. It was just amazing. Amazing. So
Fun.
that was fun. And then we went, if you're in Savannah, one of the best places I've been in a long time is called 1790 Indian Restaurant. It's very haunted, but they have great food. And it's owned by a retired Methodist minister. So we kept the Methodist
There you go.
theme all week. But it was great. And I was with my little friend, my new group, most of whom I've known for a while, but it was just it was so good to be in community with other female clergy. And I'm so excited about all the fun, crazy stuff we're going to get into.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was good. And then I drove back today. And then when I got back today, a friend of mine, he's also named Mandee Miller, and and you and I love this too, and we haven't talked about it yet, but we love the Royals. We love to follow the drama.
Your love of the Royals runs a little deeper than
Runs
mine.
really
Yes,
deep.
I'm sort of sick with just the British
Main
Royals.
events. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, this is British. So last night, y'all, if you know anything about Queen Elizabeth, you know that especially toward the end of her life, she wore one tiara and one tiara only, the girls of Great Britain and Ireland. And is the quintessential diamond tiara. It's got the perfect profile. It's
Do
lightweight.
you yourself have a replica
I
of
have
it?
a replica of the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. It will come back out on Halloween. Never fear. It's usually implied, but occasionally it comes out. I didn't think because it was so correlated with Queen Elizabeth that, I was thinking Charlotte may break it out like 2 generations later because that's a big deal. Because, I mean, it was all she ever wore. Y'all, Queen Camilla had the courage and the audacity. The courage and the audacity. I'm still not sure how I feel about it.
We have to call her Queen Camilla.
Yeah, because that's what she is. Just like we have to call some of our presidents president, even though we don't like them. I mean, that's I don't know. I'm still sitting with it, but I just got it before we recorded, so I thought I would share it with Mandee. I mean, that's some courage.
I have nothing for her altogether.
I don't love her. I'm trying to give the whole situation grace because they really didn't have a choice, but I still don't love her. And for her to like so soon, that's some audacity.
You can't be surprised.
I I
Listen,
really am.
when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
You know, that's great dating advice and great life advice. And you're right. You're right. I should have known she would have the audacity, but she had it yesterday. Woo! I mean, she's got good tiara hair.
I am not
But
surprised at all.
well, now that
Yeah.
she's popped that cherry, maybe Catherine can wear it and not make everybody mad.
Golly. All I have to say is tampon.
I know. Look, and if you don't know what we're talking about, Google King Charles tampon. Or he was Prince at the time, but
French girls tampon.
we're explicit, but I'm not. That's just gross.
That's foul.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of, so how about some
yeah.
food talk?
Yeah. Oh, so to end my trip today, I decided I would take a little detour between Savannah and Macon to my favorite place. Y'all know I love a good food place. Stripling's is great.
I just need you to pause for a second.
Yep.
Just got a text
From Jason Isbell. I want to know what that's about, ma'am. After I finish with my kind food,
I'll never get used to it.
I want to know why Jason Isbell texts you, but we'll get to that in a minute. That's so M&T Meats in Hawkinsville is the best, I think, the best butcher in the state of Georgia. They are, it's like a European butcher. And they have, you know, when you go to the store and you buy a chicken breast and it's as big as your face and you're thinking, that's not the real size of a chicken.
Right. That's the size of a whole chicken, not its breast.
Right. So they sell quality stuff. They're kind. They will do anything you ask. I have been into Stripling's more than once because there's one up by me, and asked them to package things individually because, you know, it's just me. And they question me and look at me sideways. So I went into M&T today to get my favorite things, and they'll marinate it for you. They'll do whatever. I said, y'all, I'm about to be real high maintenance. They said, okay, we'll give you 3 people. Because you start on one end and the same person, you go down the road and you tell them, okay, I want that, and I want that, and I want that. And they just follow you down the meat counter. And they gave me 3 people today. They were like, you're going to be high maintenance. We will see your high maintenance, ma'am. And we see your tiara, even though it's not on your head. And we will just help you however you want it. And we will do whatever you want. And they did. And they were glad to do it. And they were thankful for my business. You know, they were just great. So I have a whole bag full of things in the freezer that will last me a while. M&T
nice.
If you know, you know.
They also, you sent me a picture. It looks like they also sell cakes.
They sell, okay. So they had half cakes that you could buy that are locally made. They make their own, like potato salad, coleslaw. They have a big I didn't even go to the seafood side because I didn't really want to, I don't know. I didn't want to transport it that far. I don't know. I would have brought it back here to make it, but going all the way to Buford, anyway. But they have fresh vegetables. They have cakes and pies. They have jams and jellies. I mean, they don't have the store stuff. Like Stripling sells a bunch of stuff, like, you know, dish towels and Tide Pods. And, you know, they have a few groceries. This is just food. So just meat and vegetables and seafood. And it's wonderful.
Well, I'm so glad you got to stop in there.
I know. So I got breakfast sausage and boudin and Vidalia onion sausage, and that was it. It was, yeah, and pork chops and chicken. And anyway, I'm so excited.
Well, good.
So if you're in South Georgia at all, or near South Georgia, or come through there, it is not that far off the interstate, off 16 or 75. I highly recommend.
That would be southeast Georgia.
Yeah, southeast Georgia.
We should specify.
Yeah, Hawkinsville. Go to M&T Meats. I'm hoping I get to take Mandee at some point when we start doing our food trips. We've got lots that we want to do.
Absolutely.
So anyway, go to M&T Meats.
Well, good. I'm so glad you had a good weekend.
Yeah, I did.
A nice restorative beginning of your week.
Yeah.
And, so now, have you been doing classes all this time too, or?
I did a class in the car on the way up. It ended like 5 minutes before I got to M&T Meats, so the timing was perfect.
Good.
But yeah, no, I did a one of my so I skipped my Monday class. He knew I was going to be out. I don't have any absences in case the boomers are listening, but I don't think they are. Um and then today I did it in the car on YouTube. Not on YouTube, on this thing, Zoom. And then tomorrow I'll get back up there by the time I'm supposed to be online. So
Okay. Well, good.
yeah.
Good.
So I am so excited. I'm looking at your list, and that I cannot wait to hear about your 5 year favorites.
Well,
Tell
yeah.
me all about it.
So, first, it's I started this after I got home from church on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have this skirt, and it's by Farm Rio.
Okay.
If you guys are familiar at all with Farm Rio, I think they
I'm not.
started in Texas.
Okay.
And it's
I'm
women's
on my
clothing
phone right
company.
now.
It's a women's clothing company, and they just have really brightly patterned clothes. And when my sister, y'all should see Katie's face. When my sister was getting married a couple
Yeah.
of years ago, she got married down in Longboat Key. And I thought, okay, this is the perfect occasion for a Farm Rio dress for her rehearsal dinner. Because it was, at the beach and everything's outdoors. And so I worked really hard and I got the skirt to wear to her rehearsal dinner.
They
And
are
it,
statement pieces.
yeah, they are. And this is like sort of a tiered ruffle, and every tier is a different fabric. So it's a different pattern. And so, you can't wear it all the time because you wear it once and everybody's like, oh my God.
You're gonna love it.
So I wore it in Moultrie when they named the stage after my dad. Back, I think that was in February. And they had an after party, and I walked in the after party. It's actually the dad of one of my sister's best friends. And he said, Mandee, I saw you walking in. I thought, who is that flamboyant woman in that flamboyant skirt? So
These are beautiful. And now I'm going to be looking for an occasion.
but they're so comfortable. And they have a lot of good sales. Like, if you see something you like, I would say hold off because they have pretty regular sales.
Oh, they have, look at the sweaters too.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I highly recommend it. And I mean, like the skirt, I can wash the skirt. I don't even have to take it to dry cleaners. Like, I just highly recommend. So I wore it to church on Sunday, and 4 people must have been like, "Oh my God, that is the cutest skirt." And then people told me not to put my choir robe on, just leave my skirt out. But of course, I did. But my
They
choir
also
robe.
have a partnership with Adidas and have really cute workout clothes that are not as flamboyantly as expensive.
Flamboyant
dresses.
So
My new favorite thing.
had to recommend some Farm Rio.
Love it.
The next thing is a book and a television show.
Yes.
But I'm going to require that you read the book first.
All right.
Lessons in Chemistry.
Okay.
I think I actually listened to it this summer. And it's just a great book. It's follows some chemists. And so you kind of as I recall, the book is told, like, different chapters are told from different perspectives, I think.
Okay.
And so, as you might imagine, chemists are sort of a particular personality, or, they can be.
Yep.
Because their brains work very differently from
Not like mine.
from most of us. And so it's fun to kind of get their quirky perspective on things, and it's set like in the 50s.
Okay.
And one of the main characters is a woman chemist.
Yes.
And it also it flashes forward and back in time in the book.
Brie Larson plays her in the.
So it has been adapted to for television. It's on AppleTV. And yes, Brie Larson plays the main character on the television show, and I started watching it this weekend since I don't have any more baseball to watch, or a lot less baseball to
Yeah.
watch. And it's good. I like the adaptation. It's funny too. Rowing plays a big part in it, and so of course I love that aspect of it.
Well,
And nephews.
Caldwell should be watching.
That's right. I was listening to it. I remember I had my headphones on at one point, and we were together, and I looked at him and I was like, "They're talking about an erg in my book," and he's like, "Great, I don't care." I was all excited about it.
Yeah.
But yes, so recommend both of those,
Okay.
the book and the television series. I
Okay.
think they've released 2 episodes. I've watched 2 episodes.
Okay.
And have enjoyed that. Another television show I was going to recommend, because it's all TV all the time from here on out, y'all.
I love this.
Called The Midwife.
One of my favorites.
It's on Netflix. It's been out forever. I think they just released maybe their 10th season.
I was thinking 12th, but
so a
yeah.
lot of seasons.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, if
It
you
is.
just want to have, like, it's great anyway, but it's also good sort of, you can put it on and do something else too.
Yes, I do that a lot.
You don't have to sit and pay very careful attention, because you're going to miss a plot point, you know? So it's just sort of good company TV, just
Yeah.
to have on to keep you company.
Remind me who narrates it. Is it
It's one of the, I want to say one of the Redgraves, but did they?
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a Redgrave that
Redgrave?
narrates it. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. One of my favorites.
So it follows midwives in England post World War II.
Mhm.
And it's just heartwarming.
I think are we still in the 60s now in this newest season?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so it started, as you can imagine, since it spans so many
Yeah.
seasons. And they always do a Christmas special, which apparently is a thing with British television.
Yep.
All the big British shows like to do a Christmas special every year. So there's always a fun little heartwarming Christmas special. But it's really, like, it's interesting that, you know, the topics they really delve into. But anyway, that's just some good comfort watching. I would recommend.
Cannot agree more.
You could not agree more. You were said first.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I love that show.
Okay. I'm throwing this in here. This isn't on my list, but I've been suddenly I have fallen into the Kelce hole. Yeah. So I told you I watched the documentary that you recommended.
Let's not put it that way. We don't fall into the Kelce hole. We are explicit.
Come on.
Sorry.
So
I'm really tired.
So I've been listening to the podcast.
Yeah, New Heights. Isn't it good?
So good.
Yeah.
What started me, like, I had started listening to it, and then I'm like really deep diving into it at this point, because I started looking at pictures of Tay Tay and Travis.
Yep. Who I'm here for. I hope it's gonna work.
Yeah, I'm all for them.
Yeah.
I like them both. As my friend Allison said, Brooklyn Allison, not Tipton Allison. She said it's a little concerning that all these little girls are so invested in a 30-year-old's love life.
Yes.
That part I don't love.
I agree with that part. I can be invested because I'm an adult and I can.
Right. The rest of us, it's fine.
Yeah. But the little girls, I agree with.
But it's just, you know, I really like Travis Kelce.
I like Jason too. I like them.
Yeah, I like Jason too.
Very much.
I just like those boys.
They are good boys and they love their mama. I have theories about their dad, but we can talk about that offline.
Well, they have talked about, I've seen interviews where they have talked about the fact that their parents probably would have divorced.
Yeah. Yes. So they're very open about that part. Yeah.
So supportive, like they could not, and their parents have said, like, we couldn't figure out how to get these boys to all their practices if we were not together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I was just listening to today's podcast.
So
and they were
good.
laughing,
Yeah.
talking about how their dad was up in the suite talking to Taylor this week and how nervous that makes them because it's just no telling what their dad might be saying. But then they started like narrating what he was saying, and probably what it was that he's really started listening to her music. And the way he's done so is he has gone to the library and checked out all of her CDs and then burned them onto his computer so that he could listen to them. And they said,
That's
we
not
feel sure he was telling her about how he has, pirated her music and not paid for it. So funny. But anyway, so yeah, I'm really
great podcast. And even if you don't like football or don't understand football, they're just so much fun.
Yeah.
So I like that you said that.
I think what started me on this, I saw yesterday a woman on Instagram was like, she was sharing a clip and she's like, I don't know these people. All I know is they're football people.
Mm-hmm.
But the clip was, they were talking about Jason going to the premiere of the documentary.
Yep. And flip-flops.
And flip-flops and shorts.
Yep.
And Jason says, well, Kylie was supposed to bring me jeans.
Yeah.
And Travis's response to that was, why wasn't Jason responsible for Jason's jeans? And then they proceed to have a conversation wherein Travis comes to the realization, Jason comes to the realization that Travis is exactly right.
Yeah.
Jason should be responsible for Jason's jeans because Kylie's responsible for getting herself dressed and their 3 children dressed into the movie.
So it doesn't even dawn on Jason Kelce that he could have put a pair of jeans in his own bag.
Right.
That cracked me up.
Which, if you watch the documentary, that makes total sense because they show in that documentary, like, if his head was not attached, he would lose it.
Lose it, 100%.
But the point this woman on Instagram was making was how powerful that is.
Yes.
For these men who are, in this profession that is so revered by other men, for them to have this conversation on the microphone and see the process of dealing with that and dealing with it with humor.
Yep.
But that how eye-opening that can be to, what a long way it goes to dismantling the patriarchal systems that are just embedded in us. So
I really do think, though, like you said, I don't think Jason meant anything I think he could not find his head.
Right.
It was not on his shoulders.
Well, and even that's the thing about patriarchal systems is what you don't have to mean them.
Yeah.
They're in us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
None of us mean when we fall prey to these systems. It's not, we don't do it intentionally. That's why it's in its system. It just happens. It just is, folks. And whether you mean to or not.
I love that Jason was called out by another man for it, though. It would have been totally different if Kylie had called him out when she was on the podcast, but because Travis did it, it still took him a minute. But
he did
it.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the podcast is when the sweet little girl comes on, Wyatt, their oldest, and she says, I'm in my leotard. And Travis
says, nice pronunciation.
Nice pronunciation. Like, that's what he goes.
Yeah, really cute.
Yeah,
really
so
cute.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So sweet. So, no sign on that one, too.
Okay. Okay, and then I saw something today, I think maybe it was on Southern Living's Instagram, where it was sharing a master grocery list for Thanksgiving.
Love it.
And I thought, well, does everybody not already do this? So I wanted to encourage you. Now would be a great time because I myself did a master grocery list organized by aisle way back in like 2005. And I saved it in my Google Docs. And every year I just pull up that master grocery list and either take it myself to the grocery store the years I'm grocery shopping, or I email it to whomever is doing the grocery shopping. Because let's be honest, your Thanksgiving recipes are not changing that much year after year. If you're anything like most families, you're making the same thing over and over again. And if you try to make something different, somebody's going to revolt at the table. So just go ahead and pull that out, and now would be a great time to do it.
Yeah, I don't see it on Southern Living, so you're gonna have to find it for us and repost it.
But yeah, just go ahead and make your, and here's the other thing.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and start buying some stuff. If you want to be a real overachiever,
look,
you can go ahead and buy some cornmeal. You can buy some canned pumpkin.
The things you know you won't be able to find. Yeah. So what I'm going to say to you right now is that my angel Gogi is in heaven rejoicing, because we used to not make fun but poke fun because she did this. Now this woman recreated it every year because she did not computer. But on her counter, starting in probably October, maybe even September, was the list of groceries she needed for Thanksgiving.
Well, y'all laughed at her because y'all have never been in charge of cooking Thanksgiving dinner.
She would let us, just for the record. She would not let us, for the record.
Those of us, I respect that too. Get out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
No, I do not need your help. No, goodbye. Thank you. Will you come crumble this cornbread for the dressing? That is it. Everybody else get out of my way.
So she would put one single line through each thing when she bought it, so she would know what she already had and what she still needed. She also had a to-do list on the right side of the page of like,
oh yeah,
she cheated. This will be on a Find Your Food. She cheated at the SNS with a few things.
Yeah.
And so she would put like, her to-do list on top of the grocery list.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I'm all for that. And if I was cooking a big meal, I would absolutely do the same thing.
And maybe,
however, I'm telling you, I am not doing that.
Maybe we should do like a tutelage of how to make your life easier headed into Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Also, the other thing you do
for grocery shopping in general is called Buy Me a Pie, and it color codes your grocery list by the section.
Well, there you go. I myself recommend, I just recommended this to my friend Kelly, who was down here. Like I hate Publix. We'll get into that one day as to why if I wear my Publix green shirt. I hate Publix, so I hate recommending anything to do with Publix, but I have to shop at Publix because I live in Florida.
Yeah.
And I use the Publix app because you can make a list on their app, and whenever you walk into the store, it uses the location services because we're living in a George Orwellian novel, and it knows where you are, but it takes your list and rearranges it to whatever store you're in.
I might have to switch now.
Don't go to Publix. You have options.
Well, not for everyday groceries.
No, go to Kroger.
But not.
Go to IGA.
Surprisingly, there are mainly
Go to Harris Teeter. Go anywhere other than Publix.
I go to the Trader Joe's for a lot of stuff. But right around me, there are no other options but Publix.
I'll cure you of some Publix. I'll tell that story.
Okay.
I hate Publix. But anyway, so
I'm right next to the I'm in Macon, where we have things called the Murder Kroger and the Bro Crow and the
that Hawkinsville Kroger, girl. You can get some good plants up in there. I bet they got their mums out.
Not anymore, honey.
I miss the good Hawkinsville Kroger.
It used to be great. My dad's childhood friend, and this is down a rabbit hole, but my dad's childhood friend, Ben Butt. Yep, his last name is Butt. Ben Butt. He's one of the kindest people you've ever met in your life. When Ben was the manager down here, it was exactly that. It was a wonderful Kroger, but he is not anymore. And the last time I stepped foot in that place, I walked past 3 homeless people charging their cell phones in the lobby, high on something. And then when I got in there to start shopping, they said, "We have a code 19 in section 23." And I didn't know what a code 19 was, and I didn't know what section 23 was, but I knew I didn't want to be in either. And somebody had gotten stabbed. So I have not gone back in that Kroger.
That's a shame.
It is a
But
shame. It really is. It
but
really is.
listen, go somewhere other than Publix.
Okay.
But back to your grocery list. So the other thing you do if you're planning a big meal is, and we can get into more detail about this later if we think we should. You start from the time you want to sit down to eat.
Yes. And
you
backtrack.
work backwards
Mhm.
with your dishes.
Yep.
So, on Thanksgiving, I gotta get my turkey in early because it's gotta finish cooking because I have to use the drippings from the turkey and the
Yep.
dressing. And the dressing's gonna take an hour. So I mean, like you just
Yep.
it's sort of like
Gotta
a
backtrack.
math word problem.
I think we should do a Thanksgiving episode with tips and tricks like that.
Okay, we can do that.
I think we should.
But go ahead now and sit down at your computer,
Start your
y'all,
list. Yep.
and do your list and save it somewhere
Yep.
where you're gonna find it. My life is great now because we typically do Thanksgiving. Like my goal in life would be to have Thanksgiving at my house. Obviously, that's not going to happen
My
because
goal in life is to go to the Greenbrier for Thanksgiving.
I don't have a dining room table.
Oh.
So we're not having it at my house.
Mhm.
So I have to go somewhere else to cook it. But the good news is there have been times in my life where not only have I driven 7 hours, I have had to grocery shop when I got there.
Yeah.
And then cook it all.
Yeah.
That's happened more than once in my life.
Yeah.
But now, kudos to Lewis. Lewis
For the win.
Lewis does all the Thanksgiving grocery shopping.
Love it.
Now he'll call me 47 times.
Okay.
And they are presently in my sister's pantry. Every seasoning and herb possibly known to man, because he doesn't look at anything before he buys it. He just buys new. I don't care. I think that's great.
I think it's
Call
great.
me 50 times as long as I don't have to do the grocery shopping. Golden.
Love it.
Bonus. So anyway, but yeah, so I thought that's great. That's one of my favorite things is that I have my Thanksgiving grocery list organized by aisle.
Yeah. I've always been like Gogi, of course, would never, give control up of anything. So I helped, but I did not cook. And then, but it was, she wouldn't even let us in the house to help her. Like it was, "Hey, Katie, I'm out of this. Can you go get it?" Yes.
Yeah.
We'll drop it off at the door and go away. Until we got there. My mom has always been allowed, she's a great cook, and so she's been allowed to bring some things, but only limited. Her sister, God rest her soul, was never allowed to bring anything.
The rolls and the ice.
No, not even that. Nope.
So funny.
So yeah. So I watched the process for many, many years. Now I did have to go clean the house. That was my job. Was I had to come scrub, get on the dining room table and wipe down the chandelier and all the things.
Right.
So that was part of my job. So I saw the list and I was around it.
Yeah. Well, that's my last favorite thing of the week. Highly recommend it.
I am here for all these things. And once again, you always teach me things I did not know. And I'm so excited. So excited. Oh, one thing I am going to add to my grocery list for when I get back, because I'm almost out, is tomatoes. For batch 2 of the slow roasted tomatoes. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, people, go listen. You need them desperately. So I'll be back to my regular place next time. Not that anybody can see me but Mandee. the way I'm set up right now, you can't tell, but it looks like I have a halo on, which we all know that's not true. So thank you, Mandee. Thank you for being patient with me this week and rescheduling and for putting up with punchy, tired Katie.
Not a problem.
And I'm so excited. We will get okay. So here is a note. JT said that I did something wrong. I mean, shocker. And he's got lots of patience and grace for us both, and we're thankful for that. Episode 2 is not on all the platforms yet, but I promise we're gonna get it. So have patience. It's coming. If it skips, that's why, because it's me. It's my fault.
There you go.
But we are so thankful for all of y'all for hanging in there and for moving over to the other platforms if you want to. And we appreciate you very, very much.
Have a good week, everybody.
Especially
Brooker.
Brooker. We need to have her as our first guest, Mandee. She'll have to have a table in front of her to bang on when she laughs.
There might be singing involved.
Oh, please let there be. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.